Hello everyone, welcome to your channel Data Science Studio, and today we are going to start day 7 of Get Yourself Trained as Python Professional. In our last session we have seen some concepts about object oriented programming and how we can structure the classes and objects. In today's session we will be talking about another important OOPS principle, which is inheritance. So first of all, what is inheritance? So, inheritance is the process by which the child or the derived class inherits the characteristics or properties of the parent class, which is also called as base class. There are multiple types of inheritance in Python. We will be discussing predominantly four types. One is single inheritance, then multiple inheritance, then multi-level inheritance, and then lastly we have hierarchical inheritance. So what is single inheritance? So when a child class, or we call it as derived class, inherits a single parent class, then it is called as single inheritance. So let's say that I have a class 1a over here, and it is just initializing a variable to 150, and I have a child class. Now if I have to inherit the property of the class 1a, I have to pass that as the parameter in the class child a. So 1a is going as the parameter over here. It becomes a single inheritance because it is inheriting a single class, and here I am initializing another variable 40. Now what I am trying to do is I am trying to do the multiplication of this number 1, which is in the parent class, and number 2, which is in the child class, which means the child class is inheriting the properties or the attributes or the variables of the parent class. And here I am calculating the sum as well, and I am calculating the multiplication as well. So for number 1, using the self operator, as we have discussed in our day 6 of session. If you are not sure of the self, please go through the session. Self actually refers to the current instance of the class. So if I am creating a object of the child class, the self will refer to the object, child object, and then inside with that child object I am calling the multiplication method present inside the child class. So let's run it, and we can see that the sum is 190, which is 150 plus 140, and the multiplication is 6000. So this is the property of single inheritance when we are inheriting the properties of a single parent class. Now next is multiple inheritance. Now in case of multiple inheritance, a child or derived class inherits from more than one parent class. Again, the child class will inherit the properties from more than one parent class. It becomes a multiple inheritance. So let's say again, same example, I have a class 1a, which is a parent class. I am initializing a variable to 150, and then I have class 2a, and I am initializing it to 25. Now I have a child class which is inheriting the properties of both the parent class, which is 1a and 2a, and again I am writing a method which will calculate the multiplication and the addition of these two numbers. Now these two numbers are stored inside a different parent class, but they are being referred in the child class. So this is called as multiple inheritance. So when we run it, we get the output like this. So now the sum is 175, multiplication is 3750. So this is how multiple inheritance work. So single inheritance inherit the characteristics from single class. Multiple inheritance inherit the characteristics from the multiple parent class. And then we have something called as multi-level inheritance. So what is multi-level inheritance? Slightly more you can say confusing. In this type, a child class becomes a parent class for another child class. So if there is a parent class P and child class C, so the child class C can become a parent class for child class C2. And that's what we are doing over here. So here you can see I am creating a parent class which is 1A, and I am creating a child class which is ch underscore a, which inherits the properties of 1 underscore a, which is the parent class. Now I am creating another child class B which inherits the property of the child class, not the parent class. So that is where it becomes a multi-level inheritance. In this, the child class which is ch underscore a becomes the parent class for ch underscore b. And here also I am creating the object of ch underscore b, and I can refer to both the child class as well as the parent class of the child class. So here also I am trying to calculate the multiplication and addition, and you can see the output is working very fine. I have tried to give you as simplistic example as possible so that everybody understands the concept. So now this is multi-level inheritance, and then lastly we have hierarchical inheritance. So in this type there are multiple inheritance from a parent or base class. Now let's say that I have a parent class where I have initialized two variables, and the two child class are actually inheriting the same parent class. One child class is having the sum method and another child class is having the multiplication method. So this becomes the hierarchical inheritance. In this type, there are multiple inheritance from a parent or base class. So if I have to refer to some object, I will be creating child object for A and child object for B. So like this, I have created the objects, and then with that objects, I will be calling the sum and the multiplication methods. Like this. So you get it. We have the sum and multiplication being done. Now we'll see a small program wherein we are trying to do is we are trying to calculate to print the rows color, width and height. So I have created a parent class, and this init will automatically initialize the parameters for the instance or the object using the self parameter. So I am initializing the color, width and height. Now I am creating a rows class which is a child class, and I am passing the flower which is the parent class. So this becomes single inheritance because it is inheriting a single class, and I am defining a method inside that which is rows description. And once I am creating the object and passing the parameters, I can actually call the rows description method and it will print the respective values. So this is from the perspective of inheritance, and it is one of the important concept of object oriented programming. And when we are trying to automate the process in machine learning, we try to create certain classes and objects, and these concepts will be helpful for you when we will be dealing with how to develop and deploy machine learning models. So now we will just revisit. So single inheritance, when the child or derived class inherits a single parent class. Multiple inheritance is when the child or derived class inherits from more than one parent class. And multi-level inheritance is when the child class becomes a parent class for another child class. And then lastly we have hierarchical inheritance. In this type there are multiple inheritance from a parent or base class. So, and we have seen an example as well. You can try the same example using multiple inheritance, using hierarchical inheritance and using multi-level inheritance, and see for it. We will be covering more programs in our next session. In our next session, we will be touching one of these topics of abstraction, encapsulation, and polymorphism. After completing these topics, our topics for classes will be completed, and then we will be moving for the other new topics, which will be very interesting. So please like, subscribe, and comment your channel, and stay tuned, stay connected. Thank you.